All right, back to football. And those struggling Chiefs, their offense, they had 26 drops this season, 6 more than any other team. They had the same number basically the entire season of 2021 during the regular season. Now, KC has failed to score in the second half of each of their last 3 games, losing 2 of those. And for the season, the Chiefs are last in the NFL with 5.3 second half points per game. And they've had 4 red zone turnovers this season. That's tied for the most in the NFL. They had 4 all of last season, including the playoffs, a total of 20 games played. Our Dominic Foxworth says the offensive issues could catch up to KC.
As long as their defense can keep them in games and Patrick Mahomes is still upright, even with drop passes, they have a chance, but they really need to get that first round bye. There's no way that they make it, I think, if they have to get through 3 of these AFC teams.
Look, at 7-3, the Chiefs might have to go on the road if they want to go to their 4th Super Bowl in 5 seasons. And really, that's a situation Patrick Mahomes has never seen. Of his 14 career playoff games, none of them, not one, have come on the road. Okay, Kmart, I think it was Maya Angelou who once said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
Yes.
So with that, how concerned are you about the Chiefs offense?
You know what? Unlike Jeffrey, who's seated across from me, he's a worrier. I have a feeling, he deals with a lot of anxiety. You know what? I go based on what I've seen, and what I've seen says that you should trust 15. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not happy that other Chiefs receivers cannot catch the football. But Travis Kelce, their number 1 option, right? Okay. He had 27 catches in the playoffs last year. Nobody else on the Chiefs had more than 10. So when I look at this team, Travis Kelce being the dude and everybody else not picking up, like that, to me, it's sort of like this is what happens with this team. Now, it is week 12. Somebody has to learn how to catch the football besides Travis Kelce, but I think the combination of Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes at least gives me some sort of comfort that they will figure it out, especially with Andy Reid at head coach.
But you looked at what the Eagles did. They double-teamed, they triple-teamed Kelce and said, dare those other guys to make catches.
Here's how I will push back,
okay,
Ryan. They still had plays. Like, guys were still open. So catch the ball, son. Like, that's literally all you have to do. Patrick will find you. Do your job. And I know it's week 12, so it's late to be having this conversation, but I can't see the Chiefs not making the playoffs and getting in there and still guys are dropping passes. I just can't see it.
Oh, Hawk, do you agree?
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting different results. We've had this same conversation since week 1, kickoff weekend against the Detroit Lions, and the receivers not making those plays. Now, I'm not saying that this receiver group can't do it, but there does seem like a lack of accountability and discipline within this offense that goes well beyond the receiver issues. There's penalties, there is bad turnovers from everybody on the offensive side of the ball, and I feel like it's understated at the value that Eric Bieniemy brought to this offense. Even the people and the players that played for him that brought him criticism said that he was a disciplinarian, he held a standard, he would yell at the star players as much as he would yell at the undrafted free agent practice squad players. And what that did to me and tells me is that there is an accountability issue. A bunch of young wide receivers who don't realize or understand how to get out of this drop pass funk. There is no question about Patrick Mahomes. He is the best player in football. He will be for the foreseeable future. But in those critical moments, when the defense is doing their job and the offense needs to make a play and 15 puts the ball right where it needs to be, who's going to make that play? And that's the concern for me late in the season and into the playoffs.
What do you think, Jeff? Where are you standing on this?
I'm concerned.
Oh, see? What'd I say?
I'm going to tell you. Because here is the situation that they're in now. They missed at the trade deadline. They had an opportunity. They could have went out and got a guy like D-Hop, somebody. Go find some receiver that's a true dude, because you're seeing Travis Kelce for what's going to happen in the playoffs. The way the Eagles played him, double and triple. Watson has an open touchdown, he makes the catch. Watson has he has another drop earlier in the game, and then he has that 25-yard pass that is a dot to continue the drives. On a 4th and 25, hits his hands and goes off. They had 3 drops in the last drive of the game. Like, that is unacceptable. I don't care what football team you're on. And here's the problem. MVS dropped the ball in Green Bay.
Yes.
Tony dropped the ball in New York. You're talking about guys who have a proven track record of dropping balls. Their wide receivers have dropped 9% of the balls that are catchable. That is an issue because teams will take out a tight end. It is the easiest position in football to diminish the value because they can double and triple on him. And listen, they have the best pass pro offensive line in the league. After that Super Bowl where they got torched by Tampa because everybody was injured, they went out and got the O-line. They have plenty. Mahomes has plenty of time to hold the football. The issue is the guys down the field and in big moments. We're seeing them make the catches in the first half. In the second half, it's like everybody tightens up. Well, guess what? Playoff time, it's tighten up time, bro.
Right.
You got, at some point, you have to show that you are the guy that Patrick, because here's the thing for Patrick Mahomes. He is not, he is a human just like the rest of us. If everybody continues to drop the ball, he's going to stop throwing the ball to him. He's going to start forcing balls to guys that he trusts, and that's when the offense will break down. And you heard him after the game. He said, listen, I'm going to throw it to the open dude. That goes great until that dude keeps dropping it. And then you go, you know what? I ain't throwing to that dude anymore. And guess what? I played with 2 in the Hall of Fame, or 1's in the Hall of Fame, 1 will be. Them dudes don't keep throwing to guys who drop it. Like at some point, the frustration, it goes over, and that's the point that you're at. You're at week 12, and to Hawk's point, it started in week 1.
Yeah.
Bo, get on the judge machine. Get on the freaking machine, make catches. Bottom
It's
line.
the ball, son.
It's a good point. Time for sound off. Tom Brady talking to Stephen A. Smith said that he hasn't enjoyed the overall product of the NFL, especially around the league. Here's Brady talking about the mediocrity on the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I think there's a lot of mediocrity in today's NFL. Yeah. I don't see the excellence that I saw in the past.
Why not?
And
why not?
I think the coaching isn't as good as it was. I don't think the development of young players is as good as it was. The rules have allowed a lot of bad habits to get into the actual performance of the game. So I just think the product, in my opinion, is less than what it's been.
Talk about it, Tom. Talk about it.
And he said it with his chest, Jeff. Is he right? Is the NFL just mediocre right about now?
He's right. And the situation for the NFL is everything has focused on scheme instead of fundamentals. And so I can use Tom Moore as a great example. He's a Hall of Fame coach who was with the Steelers with Bradshaw, won Super Bowls with Peyton Manning and us, and the Colts, was with the Bucks and Brady when they won Super Bowls. And he used to say, and I'm going to church it up for TV, but he's like, you can take all those pretty plays and use them as toilet paper if you can't pass, protect, and execute them. And so what's happened now in our game is it's not about physicality. It's not about pass pro. We're at 6% pass pro. I mean, it's down 6% over the last few years. That's a massive, and blitzing isn't up, by the way. So you can't tell me it's one-on-ones, defensive linemen upsetting offensive linemen, get receivers not knowing where in routes they should be. Everything's going away, and it's all starting off that 7-on-7, this pass skelly. Everything's about scheme. Nothing's about execution and fundamentals, and it shows up.
Hawk, what do you think?
Tom is preaching. I was raising my hand because I'm like, oh my gosh, this man is dropping gems right now. And this is coming from a wide receiver. I am all for the health and safety of players in the league, but to Jeff's point, the product is suffering. You look at offenses around the league in general, right? And as an offensive player, the good offenses, why we love Mike McDaniel's offense is because of the amount of detail that goes into it. Kyle Shanahan's offense, I've been there. There is detail to everything they're doing. There's barely any coordinators who have a long tenure in where they're at today. And I liken it to when you have a really good basketball player, it is harder for a really good basketball player to play well against a player who has zero experience than it is another experienced basketball player. And you're seeing that in the game of football. The defensive side is struggling to try to figure out how they evolve with the new leagues and the changes to the physicality. And the offense, conversely, on the other side, it's no longer a game of chess. The details don't matter. And now around the league, there are barely any offenses that are these juggernauts that you watch every week, and you can see the schematic prowess of these teams. The game of football is changing absolutely.
You know, it's interesting what he just talked about, because I know Jeff and I and Himbo were talking. I think there's 26 new offensive coordinators right now in the NFL. So absolutely, there's no longevity, it seems, with those positions. What do you think?
I just think beyond just changing the rules to benefit offenses, I think coaches and GMs are under so much pressure to win right away that quarterback development, I think, is taking a step back.
For sure.
It's great hearing Tom Brady. When we talk about the GOAT, we talk about Aaron Rodgers and Peyton. Like, there's a different level of quarterback play And I think we're looking at so many quarterbacks right now, like, oh, is he any good? Like, what happened to him?
Yeah.
Take the time to develop these guys. It's a 10-year investment, or it should be if done the right way. But because people are under so much pressure to win now and change it up and blow
Is that
it up.
analytics, though? Is it too much on the analytics?
Again, it's going to scheme, but to Kimberly's point about development of players, when you think about, how do you get a guy from point A to point B, and how long is this going to take? We rush everything in the NFL, and you cannot allow pressure from like Bill Pullen used to say, who's in the Hall of Fame. If you start thinking like a fan, you're going to be sitting with the fans. We got a lot of people who are thinking like fans, right? Like, this isn't Madden.
Yeah.
Like, you have to develop, and you have to understand concepts and why things work and why things don't. And right now, we skip it all and just expect people to produce. And to the NFL's point, they want scoring.
Yeah.
They want 38, 35. They're getting it, you know what I mean? But all of a sudden, we're not producing those numbers, because one of the reasons because Tom Brady's at home.
Yeah.
If he's on the field, he put some points up too.